just want to go through all the details because it's important for me to make sure people understand what is at the core of what I offer. It is sharing information, and the sharing of the information can be really so helpful. And it's not a whole lot different from the information that we get from the food we eat. A lot of people don't think that when they're eating, depending on what they're eating, they're actually putting specific information in their bodies that their bodies will use to do the things that bodies do. Healthy things, replace cells, strengthen the immunity, go after viruses. Food plays a big part of that. And that's information that's in the food. Now, most people don't think about that as being information when they're eating, but it is. And so what I am doing is sharing information much in the way that a person would acquire information from eating food. It's just a different medium. It's a different information set. And the information set that I work with is information that is communicated through water. Now, a lot of the great things that we eat that are really good for us also have a lot of water in them. An orange, a tomato, watermelon, melons, grapes, all of those delicious, juicy things have quite a bit of water content in them as well. And part of the way that they work so efficiently when we eat them and bring them into our digestive systems is that they go to work immediately with the communication that the body needs to do what those things will contribute to the health and well-being of any body, most of the time. So I want to make sure that that's our baseline of understanding. And does that help frame the conversation for you so we know where we're going? This is Jan Oberman, and he lives in Sarasota, Florida, where he's really close to those gorgeous white grainy sand beaches. And he has a very happy life in Sarasota. And so he's joining me today from Sarasota, and I'm in Philadelphia. A question or two. Sure. I would say if you can begin with the information that you had that last day as you were preparing to be discharged from the hospital. And if you want to share why you were in the hospital, and we need to have a disclaimer that this is going to be talking about your health information. That's private information. I do respect the HIPAA policy, and I have to just say, we have agreed that that's part of what could be shared in this conversation, so that I can be possibly helpful to other people who may be in a similar situation as you. Okay, got to cover my, CYA, right?
Okay. So I just want to briefly go back a little bit further than just to give background to why I was in the hospital. So I have COPD, and there's two kinds of COPD, emphysema and chronic bronchitis. I have emphysema. I was diagnosed with it in 2008. I didn't believe it. I was in denial. I was like, you people are crazy. I'm fine. But it's the kind of thing that progresses. It doesn't go away. It doesn't get better. It only gets worse. So I would say about 2 or 3 years after that, I had my first experience of being out of breath when I wouldn't expect myself to be out of breath. And I was shocked. It went on from there. And 2019 was the first time I was hospitalized for it. When you have COPD, there's something called a flare-up or an exacerbation where you need immediate treatment. And so I was hospitalized for a couple of days in 2019. And I was not hospitalized again until March of this year. And but it did continue to get worse through those times. What happened in March was I actually got pneumonia, which is something aside from COPD, but you put the two on top of each other, it's pretty scary. And I had all I didn't know the symptoms of pneumonia, but in retrospect, after I found out all the symptoms of pneumonia, I had every single one of them. So I didn't know what was going on, but it was obvious, um, diarrhea, chills, shakes, uncontrollable shaking. Anyway, so I was in the hospital for pneumonia, and I think that may have been ordinarily maybe a 4 day stay, but it turned into a 7 day stay because they found some strange bacteria in my blood called nocardia. And nocardia is very rare. There's like 500 to 1,000 cases a year. So they were trying to treat that. They were trying to pin down what type of nocardia it was. And they shifted the diagnosis to nocardial pneumonia. So they put the two together, and my pneumonia was because of the nocardia. So I ended up being in there for 7 days, from a Tuesday to a Tuesday. And when I was let out, it had really taken, I mean, I really wanted to go home, but once I got home, it was like, it had taken so much out of me. I was weak. I was still very short of breath. I've been on oxygen since 2019, but over these last 3 years on the oxygen, I've had ups and downs. I've had times when I didn't need it for weeks at a time. I've had times when I've needed it more. But almost never did I need it at rest. I needed it when I would exert myself. And this was getting to the point where I needed it in the house to walk from one room to another. It was definitely going in a direction. It was not a couple of bad days. It was like really taking a turn. And I found myself using it when I slept at night. I found myself using it when I was sitting in my chair in the living room. Um, shortly after I came out of the hospital, Anais introduced the idea of this to me. If I remember correctly, what she said was it was information water. And it's like, that meant absolutely nothing to me. But my my reaction was, what the hell? It can't hurt. Um, I'm willing to do it. Things for the COPD, for my breathing in general, along with what Anais gave me. And I started to notice very big improvement after about a week to 10 days. And I couldn't, and I still can't to this day, tell you why. I'm curious as to what's making the big difference, but not curious enough to want to stop taking any of it because I don't really care why I feel better. I'm just really thrilled to be feeling better. And I'm feeling better to the point where I haven't used my oxygen in the last week. Yeah, maybe more. Maybe it's more like 8 or 9 days. I, it's night and day. It's dramatic. It's undeniable. When people ask me, when I tell people I'm having a good day or I'm having a bad day, the only thing that has to do with is my breathing. If it's a good breathing day, I'm having a good day. If it's a bad breathing day, I'm having a bad day. That's how I judge everything. And this last stretch of 8, 9 days, it's like it's not even a factor. And I don't know what else to say. And it's just, I hope it lasts.